Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 26th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. I will say I was pretty sleepy throughout the day, but overall, it was a better day. It was a good day, so I will take it. Let's see here. Food corner. I had a bit of an early lunch today, and I went back to the vending machine and got this Chipotle sandwich. It was like a Chipotle chicken, bacon, tomato with lettuce sandwich. It was good. I will tell you the two reasons why I got it. One, it was a big ass sandwich. Two, it had this like orange colored bread swirl going on, and I was like, ooh, big color. So I just got it, and I had that with some Cheetos and a energy drink. So I'm on like my second energy drink today. But yeah, we're vibing, we're rolling, we're alert for now. But yeah, like I said, overall good day. Hopefully the Friday vibes are carrying to you, and you yourself had a good day, a good Friday. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and then we'll go ahead and get into some news. Gotta say, there's some trigger warning sexual assault ahead. It's not bueno. It's no fun. We gotta get through the woods on that part, but we're gonna do our best. Also, it's over a piece of shit that I did not expect to be talking about again. Um, but from the Associated Press, Harvey Weinstein's rape conviction is overturned by New York's top court. New York's highest court on Thursday threw out Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction with a ruling that shocked and disappointed women who celebrated historic gains during the Me Too era and left those who testified in the case bracing for a retrial against the ex movie mogul. The court found the trial judge unfairly allowed testimony against Weinstein based on allegations that weren't part of the case. Weinstein, 72, will remain in prison because he was convicted in Los Angeles in 2022 of another rape. But the New York ruling reopens a painful chapter in America's reckoning with sexual misconduct by powerful figures in an era that began in 2017 with a flood of allegations against Weinstein. Hashtag MeToo advocates noted that Thursday's ruling was based on legal technicalities and not an exoneration of Weinstein's behavior, saying the original trial irrevocably moved the cultural needle on attitudes about sexual assault. I would definitely agree with that. It is a shame that a technicality of, I guess, essentially they put up too many witnesses that weren't necessarily tied to like acts that he was criminally charged for, but just they were more or less there showing a pattern because they had like two core victims that were going to testify, but then they kind of I just use the word that I can use and that I know is just kind of piled on with more witnesses that technically weren't supposed to be involved, at least according to New York law. And that potentially might apply to California law. That being said, he still has 16 years on his jacket for that in California. But also that his lawyers have said we are going to try for a retrial. We are putting in arguments for that now. So I mean, we'll see. But the state court of appeals overturned Weinstein's 23-year sentence in a 4-3 decision, saying the trial erroneously admitted testimony of uncharged alleged prior sexual acts and permitted questions about Weinstein's bad behavior. If he had testified, it called this highly prejudicial and an abuse of judicial discretion. I really couldn't imagine this motherfucker trying to hop up and testify, but I know he was trying to do all the flips and tricks. He came through on his little walker, like, oh, I'm so fucked up. So, I mean, maybe he would have tried, but I think he would have gotten roasted on the trial. I think it would have made things worse. But I think it truly is that they got to get off on a technicality. I also want to add that I don't feel like this sets things back. I think that there have been strides in the Me Too movement since then. I mean, shit, even going up to the Jonathan Majors shit that we've covered and talked about. So I don't think that this recedes anything, erases anything. I think it's just a traumatic event because now there's so many there's so many women who now have to go, shit, like we're gonna have to go through this again. And what is that? I believe Alvin Bragg, what is it, New York's district attorney, whatever, attorney general, I don't know what they're called, but essentially he said, hey, I'm willing to try the case if the witnesses are willing to, the victims or whatever are willing to, retestify. And I know at least one has spoken through their lawyer or made a statement saying that they are. So, if it does go down, then cool. I hope that it sticks. It was a revolutionary trial then. I'm sure it will be again. And I really hope that they don't throw out the California case, because that would be wild. Also, it's worth noting, I don't have his name at the ready, but the main attorney for Weinstein is the same lawyer who got Bill Cosby out. So that guy's on a heater. He knows the old guys, and he's like, I'm gonna get you out of this fucking situation. They're just gonna, I'm gonna show them how geriatric you really are, and that'll somehow equate to some kind of innocence, or like you should just pity him out of here. I don't know. That's wild. Because I know some people, like I've heard people at work like, oh, he's so old, blah 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 blah, and like it's like that doesn't make him not a rapist. like bro, like it's weird. It's especially weird talking to old heads sometimes about these kind of things. I think they still believe in this boys club thing. I think they go back. I've heard people even, and it is mentioned in this kind of conversation, they're like, well, there was consent, so da 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 da. It's like, no, dude, like this person bullied people into sex and then did terrible things to them. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a consensual thing. I mean, you're in this industry, and if you say no to a guy like this, it's your whole fucking career. Potentially worse. You don't know. So if this person's putting the moves on you, you're a young, new to this field, this industry fucking shit, like, yeah, you're getting taken advantage of in a very terrible way. There's nothing okay about this. And fucking Weinstein's like, yeah, man, I didn't do anything. Get me out of here. It's like, no, dude, you belong here. You should be rotting here. But yeah, now he's taking his ass to California. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, just wanted to kind of, bring that up, raise the alarm there. But let's move on to the next subject. Is also not very wholesome, very gross and upsetting. From the Associated Press, ex-police officer wanted in 2 killings and kidnapping, kills self in Oregon, police say. A former Washington State police officer wanted after killing 2 people, including his ex-wife, was found dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound following a chase in Oregon, authorities said Tuesday. His 1-year-old baby, who was with him, was taken safely into custody by Oregon State Police troopers. The troopers began chasing the ex-Yakima officer Elias Huizar when they saw him driving southbound on Interstate 5 near Eugene, Oregon, at about 3 p.m. on Tuesday. Oregon State Police Captain Kyle Kennedy said at a media briefing Tuesday evening that Huizar fled after a trooper tried to pull over his vehicle. Troopers pursued Huizar's vehicle at high speeds and at one point exchanged gunfire with him, according to Kennedy. The pursuit went over about 25 miles, ended when Huizar's vehicle hit a commercial vehicle that was stopped on the interstate because of an unrelated crash. Huizar's vehicle spun and became immobile in the median. When troopers tried to make contact with him, he shot himself and died at the scene. The 1-year-old was uninjured and removed from the vehicle. So that right there is probably the only silver lining in this story. And the fact that no one else was like hurt in the whole exchange with the cops and the whole chase or whatever. But Weezer went on the run Monday afternoon after killing 2 people, including his ex-wife, Amber Rodriguez, 31 years old, whom he shot 8 times outside a West Richland elementary school in front of their 9-year-old son and other witnesses, police said. Rodriguez had recently obtained a protection order against Weezer. Rodriguez worked at the school, while Weezer had recently worked as a substitute teacher in the Richland School District. The district confirmed in a Facebook post Tuesday. Police did not identify the other victim, whose body was found later Monday at Weezer's house, except to say she was Weezer's girlfriend. And I want to put that in our italics because when we get into the next part, it's hard to say this person is consensually his girlfriend. According to court results, Weezer, 39, had at least until early this year had been living with a 17-year-old girl whom he had met when she was 11 years old, and he was a middle school resource officer in Yakima. He impregnated her when she was 15. Their baby recently turned 1. Rodriguez wrote in seeking a protection order against Weezer. The Yakima Police Department said in a Facebook post that Weezer left the department in 2021 after receiving discipline. It did not provide any other information. That's a little sussy from the police department. I feel like you should be very transparent here and being like, just he was a little bit of a bad guy. For what? What did he do? This is maybe important. Let's see here. Rodriguez wrote in her petition for a protection order that her divorce from Weezer became final last year and that she had not been aware that he was having a relationship with the same teen he had met as a resource officer until he was charged with rape. So this is some rough shit. It's deep. It's sad. It's very unfortunate. Richland School District said it terminated Weezer's employment following his arrest in February. It had received recommendations from Yakima School District before hiring him in 2022, and that he had passed background checks. So that's very unsettling that a guy like this was able to just be in the cut and like be around children and then, essentially groom and then wind up killing 2 people, his wife and then this person. Also, he sexually assaulted the girl's friend who is like 16, and I think that's what got him into trouble because then she was passed out at the house and then he did something to her, sexually assaulted her, and then they went to the police, and then it's like, oh, so yeah, we're getting you for both of these girls, and this shit all blew up from there. And then I guess he was like, I'm gonna do something, and he did something. Obviously, it's very unfortunate. I feel like earlier this week, right? We covered another situation in like Oklahoma City. It's true crime, man. It's heavy shit. I try to space it out a little. Obviously condolences to, all the people involved here. I'm glad that the baby is alive, but that's obviously, that's a terrible shit to have had gone through, and you're just literally new to this world. Not to mention, all the backstory behind your conception. So that's a fucking lot. All right, let's go ahead and hit the next beat. We're actually going to Tennessee for the next couple stories. So, put on your cowboy hat. Let's, get into the heart of music. I don't fucking know. I don't know what cool shit to say about Tennessee. Anyway, and honestly, they're not being really chill in this next bump. So, Associated Press, Tennessee lawmakers passed bill to allow armed teachers a year after deadly Nashville shooting. So, not the track I was hoping that we were going to be winding up going, from Tennessee, but it does kind of fit the script for a southern, conservative, area. But protesters chanted "Blood on your hands" at Tennessee House Republicans on Tuesday after they passed a bill that would allow some teachers and staff to carry concealed handguns on public school grounds and bar parents and other teachers from knowing who was armed. That part is so weird to me. I don't like. I get it. There's a certain kind of security thing, and we don't want the potential shooter to know. But it's like, what happens if like the person who has a gun and done all the training and everything has like a snapped moment, and now you don't know that he has a gun or he or she has a gun now, and they're just gonna rock it out, and you're gonna find out the hard way. Like, I don't know. That to me is a dark scenario that I'm already like, that alone would make me kind of not like this idea. But let's continue. Let's keep pushing. The 68 to 28 vote in favor of the bill sent it to Republican Governor Bill Lee for consideration. If he signs it into law, it will be the biggest expansion of gun access in the state since last year's deadly shooting at a private elementary school in Nashville. Members of the public who opposed the bill harangued Republican lawmakers after the vote, leading House Speaker Cameron Sexton to order the galleries cleared. 4 Republicans and all the Democrats opposed the bill, which the state Senate previously passed. The measure would bar disclosing which employees are carrying guns beyond school administrators and police, including the students and parents, and even other teachers. A principal, school district, and law enforcement agency would have to agree to let staff carry guns. So it kind of then, with this law, if it gets signed in, it's just going to leave the power and discretion up to the schools individually. I've said this before when we've kind of talked on this subject. This isn't a new thing. Apparently, it's like about half the states in America are like that. And I know I shouldn't be surprised, but we're talking schools, man. And I know there's always been guns in schools, but at least it's attached to a fucking law enforcement officer or some fucking shit. And yeah, I know, fucking ACAB. I'm not really trying to put my life in their hands. But at the same time, am I trying to put my life in my math teacher's hands? Who, sure, I know they got their degree and shit, and they can count 1 + 1 = fucking 2. But should they be the hero with the gun here? I don't know. I'm a little worried about that. But, it is what it is. These are the kind of things that I'm just it's all on rails at this point. People are going to do what they do. I was happy to see people come out and actively say, this is bad, this is wrong, don't do this, please. But sadly, that fell on deaf Republican ears, unfortunately. Let me see here. I do want to kind of mention this because we've talked about Jones before. In the chaos after the vote, Democratic and Republican lawmakers accused each other of violating House rules, but only voted to reprimand Justin Jones, for recording on his phone. He was barred from speaking on the floor through Wednesday. Now, they had him and Pearsons, I'm getting his last name wrong, but they had them expelled, and they had to go through a whole fucking rigmarole to get their literal jobs back, but they fucking did. And sure enough, they're trying to fight the good fight for the people, their constituents, and at every turn and every curb, you just see these Republican lawmakers who have the juice in the House just try to silence them, quite literally. And it's unfortunate because you literally can see and hear Jones saying the things for the people. These people are literally outside in droves saying, stop this, please don't do this. But yeah, I guess this is what these lawmakers are going to deem is the safest option for the future. And we'll see. Like I say these things as warnings because I'm concerned. I'm worried. I don't want to see that happen where you're literally potentially going to have, once again, your math or fucking, home ec teacher covered in someone's blood or some shit. You know what I mean? Whether or not they wind up doing the right thing, or heaven forbid they make a fucking mistake, dog. Imagine having to live with that. Imagine being the family. I don't know, man. Once again, I hope I'm not here covering that shit. I hope it doesn't happen that way. But it just seems more likely than not. You know what I mean? But yeah, what is it? What does it boil down to, right? It's that or the dare cop, I guess. I don't fucking know. But yeah, let's move on. Let's hit some good news. How about that? From NBC News, UAW's Tennessee win fuels backers' hopes in the South, but some skeptics are unmoved. The labor fight heads next to Mercedes plant in Alabama, where one worker said, "People on the floor think we're going to win," despite opposition from management on up to the governor. United Auto Workers just notched an historic victory in Tennessee. The union's first major win since signing new contracts in Detroit, as it shifts its focus to the south. Some industry workers there feel more optimistic than ever, but others still aren't ready to join up. Friday's landslide outcome at the Chattanooga Volkswagen plant, where 73 workers who cast votes opted to unionize, followed two failed attempts and is the UAW's first win at a foreign automaker in the South. Now, something I wanted to plug that was very enlightening, insightful. Planet Money did a good story about this, and they had added the update that they had wound up winning in this third attempt. It's a very cool story, and it's very informative because, we've talked a little bit about how trying to form a union can be very difficult, especially when you have to deal with union busters and things like that. We've talked about that via the lens of Amazon. We've talked about it via Starbucks. And in the automation world, it's no different. Automotive. That's, I think, the word I wanted to say. So with Volkswagen, they're kind of I feel like a very liberal presenting place, but at the same time, they're coming to the South for specific reasons. And essentially, I think it's something like the right to work law allows them to just sidestep, hey, you're supposed to have a union here. Your industry has it in other places, it should have it here. But no. In the South, no, don't worry about that. That's neither here nor there. Just set up, just have some fun. You know what I mean? Pay them whatever, do whatever with them. And I think what really thwarted the first two attempts was the fact that people just came out so strongly. There was so much money presented from the actual state coming in, telling people how bad a union's going to be for them, and then saying, hey, if you actually say no to a union, Volkswagen says they're going to build a whole new plant on top of this or right next to this. But if you sign yes to a union, then they're not going to feel safe enough to do that. Just potentially just making this just spreading a lot of fear mongering and all that kind of shit. And which is crazy because, once again, this is Volkswagen. So you could imagine then any of the other automative, I can't think of the word, automative, whatever. They're anti, they're even worse. Now, on this third attempt, I heard when it comes to Volkswagen, they said, hey, we're not going to put in any of our union busting tactics. We're actually going to stay neutral here. Maybe the press got to them. Maybe they were tired of it. I don't know. But essentially they said, no, we're not gonna. That being said, governors or whatever still came out, still said, hey, don't form a union, da-da-da-da. But they won out. So we love to see it. I want to clap it up for that. It's cool to it's cool to see Sean Fain's strategy really come to fruition in this part two, the second act, where, we had the big three and he really took them on and, okay, wow, that's big. That's awesome. And then he said, hey, we're going to take this shit to the South and we're going to take on these places that you never thought we would be able to get to. And, I was okay, with some trepidation, I would love to see that, but we shall see. And this win in Chattanooga is really big. And I hope that they make a splash with Mercedes and they win there. I think Nissan and Toyota will be next on the list. So, I'll definitely keep you posted there. There's a couple other things I wanted to hit. Let me see if I can find it. It was supposed to be on my thing. Elijah. If I can spell it. Clean. It's because there was a update that I wanted to cover. Here we go. From NBC News. I just wanted to hit this because it had popped up when I was doing research. I figured, hey, let's just add it here. From NBC News, paramedics sentenced to 4 years of probation for role in Elijah McClain's death. Jeremy Cooper, a former Aurora Fire Rescue paramedic, has been convicted of criminally negligent homicide in December. I'm not stoked on this verdict that it's probation, but it puts a period on this. I really don't even want to dwell too much on it, but I'll just read kind of the intro. A Colorado paramedic was sentenced to 4 years of probation Friday for his role in the killing of Elijah McClain, bringing a close to the years-long effort to prosecute those involved in the black pedestrian's death. So it's closing the chapter. Is it justice served fully? No, rarely is it. But we can just turn the page now. I guess I wanted to kind of like at least get this in once I saw it. You know what I mean? So on our last note, I wanted to end it on a good note. I mean, it's not a good note. I hate hearing about people getting arrested and harassed by fucking cops. I really hate covering that part, obviously. But the solidarity, I cannot stress enough, the solidarity really does bring joy. It reminds me that we're not fucking done and that the world is not completely fucked. You know, I've said this before. I'll say it again. When I look at shit from a bird's eye view with all the coverage, I get really upset. I get really bummed because it just feels like the world just wants to lean towards this like conservative bent to kind of just keep with some kind of status quo that is not helping and only making shit worse. But like to see people come together in ways that they just haven't before is yet again another reminder that like we just haven't lost that spirit of like we can overcome anything, like truly be through peace and through, you know, really just elaborating and then showing people what's going on and like standing strong together, we can make some kind of change. Whether we feel it immediately or not, we can make some shit happen. We can at least show people that we're not going to give up no matter what until the end. And I don't know, that rocks with me. So I wanted to cover this real quick and then we'll just close. But you know what that means. I'm not going to miss my last little break. So by all means, take one with me. Okay. From the Columbus Dispatch. Police confirmed 36 arrested at Ohio State anti-Israel protest Thursday night. Pro-Palestine, I like to say, but whatever. Verbiage is verbiage. 36 people were arrested Thursday night as Columbus became the latest site of student protests against Israel as hundreds of Ohio State University students, faculty, and members of the Ohio Arab community rallied and set up tents outside the student union. I just wanted to highlight it. Let's see. I'll hear a little bit more. Police records show that 36 people were arrested starting at 10:16 p.m. Thursday and charged with criminal trespassing, a fourth-degree misdemeanor punishable by 30 days in jail or $250 fine. So it's not nothing, man. And not to mention the trauma of getting like harangued by police, hassled by fucking police. Meanwhile, while you have like, you know, Zionist fucking, you know, pro-Zionist students like, oh, I feel so scared to be in campus. They're staring at me. Oh, they're booing me. Oh, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this is literally, in more cases than not, than what I'm seeing, it is a peaceful protest. And I really just wanted to highlight, it's like, Isaiah, you've already covered these. You've already covered a lot of these. But this is special to me because this is Ohio. This is like Ohio stepping up. When I saw the map and I saw that there was a little dot, there's one dot, I knew exactly. I knew it. I knew it was going to be Ohio State. I just knew. And I was just happy to see us on there. And that the solidarity, once again, that we also feel that there should be a fucking free Palestine. You feel me? So hell yeah. You know, I just wanted to cover that a little bit. And I know the work's not done. I know that everyone's going to keep at it, though. It's just not stopping. And yeah, so fuck it. From the river to the sea, right? Hell yeah. That's it. That's all I really wanted to talk about on this fine Friday. And I did better time today. So tip of the hat to myself. All right. Let's see. Freeway or no, I gotta do for the non-free first. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Also, feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials you're on. And hopefully you're subscribed to the YouTube. Trying to get that number up. Let's hit that 69 sooner than later. Also feel free to follow on the Spotify or whatever platform you're listening on. Sharing is caring, liking is nice, and please leave a cool comment. It's always cool to, you know, hear what you guys have to say. We'll sound off. And thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.